Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're connected from. We are about to kick off our second keynote of the third day of ERP Suites AI Week. We just had a keynote by Dmitry Baev and his team, excellent, talking about the Ask Data platform. Now we are pleased to have Witmel Polov, who is Senior Principal Product Manager at Oracle and part of OCI. He spearheads the development efforts around agentic kind of services, has a long tenure at Oracle, I think 15 years plus, and has a strong track record of delivering exceptional projects and delivering great functionality for customers, Oracle customers. So with that, just to provide a little bit of context, the keynote we heard earlier today is kind of the platform that goes a higher level, the Ask Data framework. What Witmel will be talking about today is the recent investments, cool things that they're developing on the services that Witmel's team is consuming. So a lot of very cool stuff, and happy to have you here, Witmel. And with that, I'll hand you the baton and for the presentation. Thank you again.
Thank you, Manu. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. So let's get started. All right. So thank you, everyone, for your time for today's presentation. We're going to talk about the OCI Generative AI Agent service and how it enables our customers and the capabilities we deliver with the platform that we just released a few weeks ago. So before we continue, as usual, Oracle Safe Harbor statement. So the unique approach or the proposal of Oracle is there are already many agentic products existing in the world and in the internet, but at Oracle, we're interested to provide something that binds and integrates with our products very tightly. If you're OCI customer, you should be able to create your agentic application and use cases and implement that and run on OCI without necessarily the need to go and have a need to develop or deploy any third-party systems, but also at the same time to have the ability of this system to be tightly integrated with our apps and databases and applications that we provide. We also have, we look to have our better and flexible deployment options and provide also fully managed capabilities so that in most of the cases, you don't even need to go and develop anything, or even if you have a more developer-centric approach, to provide you the necessary agentic development kit libraries for which you can utilize the fully managed service with a minimum overhead of deploying, but then also when you want in production to have a really very minimal overhead in terms of scalability and how to run this system and how to monitor this system with when you use it in production use cases. And of course, at Oracle is very important to have a tight control on security and the privacy. As usual, we offer the agent service with models that are working on OCI. No data is leaving your region and your tenancy. Of course, we're looking also to offer a bright set of models that you'll be able to select with the agent service in the future. So the goal of the service is to enable enterprises to deliver easy value and be able to implement agentic use cases very quickly. Be able to provide you a service where you can streamline your workflows and implement your agentic workflows really easy, but also with minimal deployment overhead, and have agent that is already at the level that it's easy for you to have a virtual assistant to help your employees or other business processes. And we offer this because we see often that agents is, even though it's based on LLMs, it's a little bit tricky to build a service like that. There are too many models. Many are unpredictable, many needs to be grounded, and also there are additional fine-tuning and prompt tuning that it's necessary to be able to adjust the model to work well for agentic use cases. It's also difficult to ground those models. You also have to do a good amount of work to make sure that it works well with specialized knowledge, that it's not hallucinating. And then, of course, at the end, all this needs to run on infrastructure and have the necessary GPUs and be able to scale up and down and also be accessible in terms of cost. So we try, with our service, we try to address all those challenges. Now, to understand the AI agents and why is it actually more than just LLM, just to give you a few examples. When you go to an agent service and you just say, what is my cash flow last week? If you just use LLM, is not that this large language model does not have the ability to know that. So their agent service is elevating the large language models by providing access to additional systems to be able to do that. So for the first question, for example, you're going to need access to your data, and you're going to need that access securely. Or if I just ask turn off light bulb at 9 p.m., for example, so it has to create a task that needs to be scheduled to execute that task at a specific time, and then it needs to invoke also some API to perform that task. The same also with the rest of the task, where we just say analyze some proposal against my policy. So for example, here it needs to extract data for some existing policy document information. And then together with the input that you provided, it has to analyze this information to provide your response. Or, excuse me, it should be also capable to follow instructions and be able to execute, for example, sequentially or in parallel tasks. So all this is something that their agentic platforms have provided, and also the agentic platform that we are providing at OCI has those capabilities. At the high level, what the agent, it's the agent infrastructure, and the structure of the agent is like the core is a large language model that we fine tune and prompt and optimize and specialize for React capable tasks. So it has a reasoning capabilities, can act on tasks, it can have a different personas, it can plan actions. You can also, through your input, tell them in what sequence to execute actions if it's necessary. We have a user interface for communication. We have an easy way to get started to chat with the agent in the OCI console. But at the same time, we provide also APIs and ADK library, agent development kit for easy development. The agent platform has a long and short memory. We have the ability to work with tools. You can modify prompts. And of course, we have access to knowledge bases that you can define that could be various abilities. For example, just working with your existing PDF documents where we can completely ingest them and store them without you to do anything. So it's a fully managed service. Or the knowledge bases could be also something that can access third-party systems or databases, for example. All this you see here, we are providing as a fully managed service at OCI. So when you build your application with our platform, you do not need to think about how to host that, how to run that, how to scale it, how to utilize it, how to secure it. Everything is part of the OCI agent service. What can you do with the agent that we're providing? So some of the low-hanging fruits or some of the high-level tasks that you can implement is, of course, the agent can understand and interpret your queries. It can use additional knowledge that you provide to the agent. Also for that, it can determine necessary actions and also execute those actions. It can retrieve data if necessary. It can, as already said, execute those actions also not only against OCI, but of course also against third-party systems. Some of the use cases that we are working on and we are enabling with their agent service, you can see on this slide. The spectrum of use cases that you can implement in the various business sectors and operations is really vast. Of course, large language model still have some challenges, but as you've seen in over the past few years, they're exponentially get better and better. And a reach of use cases that we can implement with large language models increases basically by every quarter. Of course, implementing those use cases, you have to be, of course, very cautious about the limitations of the large language models, which also exist in the agent service with like hallucination, for example, or maybe not the ability to follow some tasks. And this is something where our service try to achieve a high quality and provide you and we test for that with our science teams. And every time we have an incremental optimization in an agent service, we make sure that our baseline of quality is always at the level necessary for implementing enterprise applications. Potential benefits of the AI agent service, and for what you can use it in your enterprise. For example, very common is a boost productivity. That's probably one of the tasks that we see, for example, also at Oracle, a really a lot of benefits, because now with the agent service, first, it's finally a place where business users can access their database and talk to their database, for example. This promise exists already for a very long time, and still business users need database experts to write their queries. Now with the agent service, for most of the low-hanging and most of the kind of operational execution and information that you want to access from your database, now business users can do this through the agent service with the natural language to SQL capabilities. Agents can help also write code. Agents can help also execute operations in sequence. They can help you, for example, also preparing demos, presentation, brainstorm ideas, and doing so, accessing all the third-party documents or APIs. It makes really the life of everyone very easy. And I personally, for example, use agents daily for my work, and it's really boosting the productivity a lot. It can help reduce human error and cost. Of course, with a human error, you have to be still very careful. We implement our agents always in a way that there is a human in the loop when necessary, and always in the workflows, and always with the ability when necessary to be able to track what the agent executed and what the agent have done, so that you can go back and validate these actions and these execution processes. But of course, due to automation of repeating tasks, now the workforce can concentrate, for example, on other type of jobs, and do not necessarily have to do this repeating tasks at the company. And of course, improve contextual relevance, especially, as I mentioned already, with ability to provide additional documents, ability to call APIs. Now, when you do research, or when you want to grab some specific information from your company, you have the ability to wire the agents with those documents and those APIs, and can help you in your decision process. And now we go to the OCI Generative AI Agent service and the agent platform that we released end of March, and which we, of course, continue to improve. And some of the features that you will see and that I'm going to demonstrate you in the presentation are something that we continue to elevate, of course. But some of the key goals for the agent platform is to have a simplified development of their agent service, as I mentioned, and faster time to market. We're releasing a agent development kit library for people that are more developer oriented in a way how they develop agents. But this library works with our agent platform in the cloud. When you finish your defining your agents and your tools in your workflows, they're also automatically already created in their agent service in the cloud, so that you can directly execute them without to think about additional deployment. We opening our agent platform for customizations to give you flexibility in implementing your business cases and business use cases, so you can provide now more customizations to the agent. And of course, ability to define tools, which could be a function executing tools, or in the agent, we're releasing a feature for the agent service to call API endpoints directly through the open API schema. So if you have a RESTful endpoints that are running something from your application, the agent can access them directly automatically by configuring, of course, the necessary endpoints. Some of their key components of the agent platform, already mentioned a few times, is, of course, the core is the brain of the agent platform, which is the large language model. And then I mentioned also tools. As tools, we have two types of tools. We call one is the pre-built tools and the RAC and the SQL that we had before in the past. Now they are part of the agent platform. You no longer need to create only RAC agent or only SQL agent or another agent to be able to bind them together. Now you can have one agent and you can select all of these capabilities, and this agent can work with all of them at the same time and orchestrate automatically the tasks between those tools. So one agent now can have a RAC capability and SQL and NL to SQL capabilities at once. And in addition, also within the same agent, you can configure functions and API calling and tool, which is basically the ability to call API endpoints. Of course, I mentioned already a few times, is a fully managed cloud native agent platform. We orchestrate all of the tools automatically based on the user input question and on inquiry. There supports multi-chat, multi-turn chat experience. We have a context retention up to 7 days, custom instruction capabilities. Human in the loop is also integrated within the agent. You can enable or disable it if you want, depending on the use case. And of course, as always, tight control on security and governance. For example, when you configure your API endpoint, we provide you a wide range of security capabilities of how to configure the agent to call this. It could be to your API key, it could be to your resource principal policy authentication in OCI. It could use all authentication. We can propagate also user authentication and delegate from the client if necessary. So full spectrum of security and OCI is integrated with their agent platform. On the RAC side, the capabilities that we have before, we kept them, but now they exist as a RAC tool within the agent platform. Of course, we continue to work on enhanced accuracy when we pull information from different relevant sources, and continue to work to reduce hallucination. We have a better context handling in the new RAC service. And then, of course, we open up for more and more customizations. You can now specify, for example, custom instructions for the RAC, or can tell them how to answer specific questions in what format to answer them, etc. And then, of course, we continue with our knowledge bases and the ability to fully automate it. We have a fully managed pipeline to ingest documents, so that you don't have to think about, how the ingestion pipeline should work, how I can change the documents, how I can vectorize the documents, where to store those documents into a vector database. We have an option to completely automate this for you. Some of the key features, key new features in the RAC as a tool in the agent platform is, again, a fully managed and scalable advanced ingestion pipeline with a vector store, ability to specify custom instructions. Now, one agent can work with multiple knowledge bases, not only with one. When that's necessary, you can also provide security policies and identify in an agent which user group has access to which knowledge base. We are enhancing and improving the quality of our retrieval. We have out-of-the-box hybrid search, which combines lexical and semantic search, paragraph level citation. We now offer also multilingual support. We have a multimodal parsing for graphics and charts if your PDF documents contain such information. We also now offer metadata ingestion and filtering by metadata and cross-region access, for example, for Oracle databases. A very important feature, because in many cases, agents and GenAI services are available in the region where there are GPUs, but maybe you establish your data region to be another one, and you still want to be able to access your information from the agent service. And now with cross-region support, we are able to do so. Another tool, the SQL or NL to SQL, which was existing as a separate agent before, now is available as a tool within the agent platform. And again, you can use now this together with RAC and other tools at the same time. It really aims to help make it easy for people to access their databases in the information in their databases and extract this information by just from just a natural language. You ask your questions in a natural language, and then this specialized fine-tuned model in-house on Oracle is converting the natural language to SQL, and it's querying the information from the databases that you specify. We have a wide range of abilities there to help improve the quality of the SQLs that we generate. You can provide schemas, you can provide additional information for the tables. We have self-correction to reduce, enable to reduce errors, etc., etc. Where SQL is very similar. It utilizes the same capability from the agent platform. It's just that enhance and add additional tools for SQL generation, explanation, self-correction, execution, schema linking, in-context learning, custom instructions, and then you can, as I mentioned, you can provide also additional information around the tables and the columns. You can also select between two models, small and larger one. The small is very fast in generating the queries. It's more suitable for databases that do not have very complex structure, and a larger model that it's more capable, that will be more valuable for a situation where you have a very complex database schema. And then you can select also between two dialects, SQLite and Oracle SQL. And why choosing OCI Generative AI agents? I'm going to show you also a demo video in about 3.5 minutes long to see some of the capabilities and what you can do with the agent service in a very compact format, which I hope will kind of help you understand the capabilities of the service and what you can do. But again, just for to quickly repeat, is of course seamless integration and really very easy way to run. Scalable performance powered by OCI infrastructure, offering high reliability and elasticity, and also scalability. We are continuously working on improving accuracy. With every release, we make sure that the quality of the responses is really getting higher and higher. Of course, it's fully integrated OCI native service. It means we have full integration also with Oracle databases and the Oracle ecosystem at Oracle Cloud. And let's see, I'm going to move on to the demo quickly. 1 second. So I'm actually very fast and ahead of schedule. So let's start.
I wanted to create a customer support agent. This
demo will going to show you really in very compact form what is the a typical use case that you can implement with the agent service, and how we implemented it and how we put everything together.
Will make human customer support agents more efficient. To start, I created a simple autonomous database instance with the following schema. As you can see, I have a customer table, a support agent table, a tickets table, and a couple of helper tables. I've used the generative AI service to generate data for this demo. Next, I created my agent using the OCI Agent service. As you can see, my agent has 3 pre-built tools to work with. The SQL tool is connected to our autonomous database instance where we store our support ticket data. I've shared my database schema with the tool and allowed the tool to execute SQL queries on my behalf. I've also shared more detailed information about the various table columns for better results. Next, we have the RAG tool, which was trained on a set of knowledge base articles I have auto-generated using the generative AI service. These articles were uploaded as PDF files to a storage bucket. The last tool is a custom tool, which I've configured to execute an internal API to send emails. The custom tool can be configured to make function or API calls to automate workflows and retrieve information from additional data sources. Now that my database and agent are ready, I use Oracle Code Assist to create my application. I created a fairly detailed description of an application with a backend and frontend. Code Assist generated the outline of the application as well as all of the necessary code and configuration files. I followed the instructions, creating the structure of the application as well as ran the various commands to install the required packages. I've adapted the initial code to my needs, and here's the resulting application. First, I'll pretend to be a call center manager and ask a question like, how many tickets do we have in the system? As you can see, the agent figured out that for this task, it needs to use the SQL tool, which generated a SQL query to retrieve the data, all without the user having to know anything about databases or SQL. Next, I'm going to ask, who is the busiest support agent right now? Thanks to the magic of LLMs and natural language to SQL, the agent was able to understand that busiest in this context means the agent with the most tickets assigned to them, generate the appropriate SQL command, and extract the correct information. Digging deeper, I can ask, which tickets are assigned to Gabriel White? Now, as Gabriel White, the support agent, I'll ask to see the information for ticket number 8. I see that the ticket is talking about network speed issues. In order to resolve this ticket, I'll see if we have any knowledge base articles which explain how to troubleshoot such issues. For this query, our agent will use the RAG tool, which was trained on knowledge base articles stored in object storage. As you can see, the agent came back with the relevant information as well as a direct citation and link to the original file. Now that we have a solution for the customer's issue, I'll ask the agent to send an email to the customer with the suggested troubleshooting steps. Using Oracle Autonomous Database, the OCI Agent service drawing on multiple internal data sources, the Generative AI service, and Oracle Code Assist, I was able to streamline the workflow of customer service agents easily and effectively.
And that's it. I was pretty fast with my presentation today, but I hope this was insightful, and thank you very much for your time.
Let's see if we have
All right.
any.
Oh, go ahead, Manuel.
No, just checking to see if there are any questions. I don't know if the audience would like to ask Witmel any questions. Now's the time to post your questions on the chat or the Q&A tab. So maybe we'll give you guys a few minutes for folks to chime in with any questions.
That demo video is really well done. That was nice. I like the time lapse, fast forward. Really
Thank
showed
you. Yeah,
you did.
very compressed. But I hope it kind of it's capable to show the power of the agent service and what you can do with it.
Yep.
Maybe while folks ask questions, any particular area, or maybe any particular services, Witmel, that you're seeing are getting adopted at a higher rate that you can share? A little bit more popular, being more consumed at this point in time?
What services do you mean, Manuel?
So, in your, you talked in the video, there was RAG, there was different services. Are there ones in particular? Code Assist is a very intriguing one, even in our space in GD Edwards. But just curious to see if you're seeing adoption in any particular ones at a higher rate.
So basically what you see in the demo, this has the highest rate of implementation right now because it's a very practical. So you have a rack, you have a database, and you have custom tools execution at the same time. Because most of the customers already have documents and they want to be able to extract information or chat with the documents. And, in the past, if you remember, usually you have internally in the company some system where you ask a question, it search for information, gives you 20 results, and now you have to go through all of the results to identify where the relevant information is.
Right.
And especially challenging when the relevant information is spread through several documents. Now with the rack, what they do is to drop the documents at the object storage, we ingest them, and they're ready to go. They don't have to do anything. Then, of course, we are Oracle. At Oracle, we have a lot of customers with a database already. And so many of the questions against the database can be already done through the agent, as you can see. So it just generates the queries automatically and it shows that. We even go one step further for some implementations where customers would like to show also graphics within the chat. So that's also no problem to do. And then, of course, every enterprise customer already has APIs somewhere, right? Established APIs. And so all three components, be able to automatically call APIs and orchestrate them, and then also have a RAC and SQL in the same system and put them all together, already enables a wide range of use cases, as I've shown in one of the slides. It could be anything basically from that point. I'm, for example, a very big fan of the API endpoint calling feature. This is one of the kind of that gets a lot of attraction at the moment, because every APIs have a Swagger, or now it's called Open API schema. And in the agent, you just need to upload that schema, and that's everything you need to do. And of course, you have to configure the authentication, how the agent should authenticate against the API. And now I no longer need to do anything to work with my application. I don't need to write single line of code. I just need to talk. I can give you an example with OCI. Everything you do at OCI, it has an API. Let's say that how I create a bucket, to see what is in the bucket, to see the documents, to upload the document to a bucket, etc. So now I can just show the agent that API, and now I can just converse with the agent to do these operations for me, and I don't need to write any Java or Python code. He's just calling the APIs automatically and is executing these operations for me. So this is a feature that people get excited a lot about it as well.
Absolutely. No, that's certainly exciting. It's certainly exciting internally for us, as well as conversations we're having with customers, Witmel. So that resonates with what you're saying. And in fact, we have one of your colleagues talking this afternoon about the Code Assist functionality. He's going to take it deeper level. Jason's going to.
Great. Code Assist is really great. Currently, it's one of the most used kind of a capability within Oracle. Is a fine-tuned model by Oracle, by the way. It's not publicly available model, but Oracle is a lot, what people don't realize, Oracle watches a lot of around security, and a lot about, for example, the code that our Code Assist generates, is that proprietary code or not? What do we do in that case? So we really want to go through all legal kind of hiccups to make sure that we get all approval, to make sure that we generate code that it's not going to be against other companies and affect proprietary code, etc., etc. And then what we actually at some point want to also introduce this directly into the agent service, so that the agent service can write also code and be able to execute that code also directly as well.
Fantastic. Well, I think the only other question, comment I'd like to make, and if you have any additional color you could share, right? You talked about, rapid rate of iterations and improvements to the services in a variety of different factors, the LLMs as well. And I know just was it 2 or 3 weeks ago, you guys came out with a new release. You guys are constantly right on that effort of enhancing the services, the LLMs, and making it more, whether it's more feature rich or, like you're saying, more accurate, more precise. Is that still the case?
That's still the case, yes. And there are various improvements that we're going to do in the next 6 months. For example, for the RAC, we're going to increase the number of files that we support and we can ingest. We should be able to ingest code, SDK documentation. And then for the SQL, for example, we are improving and adding the ability to work what we call enterprise schemas. Sometimes the schemas can be very large. And so it's just very hard for SQL, for large language models, to deal with that. And there are various techniques of what to do in that case. And we are going to provide abilities there that we can work with 300, 400, 500 megabyte large schemas and be able to optimize it in a way that the agent automatically delivers the relevant schemas and then identify the queries for that, for example. Agent platform, of course, is going to continue to improve. We are also going to open up all of the tools in the platform for more and more of the developer persona, meaning that people will be able to configure even more. For example, we have a prompt template already, but maybe we're going to open up also the system prompts. We're going to open up to the models to select multiple models, the parameters of the models. We're probably going to have one option that is going to be like the default option, which we optimize for everything you can use out of the box. But if you want to go for another model, and you want to try another model and you want to test another model, let's say for rack output generation, you want to try, I don't know, Llama 4 or something else, we're going to have also other models that you can select, and you can try to see if the rack agent works with that model better. We will not be able to test for all those models. I think, I hope people realize here that it's really very challenging to assure quality on all models. So there is going to be, we will continue to have one model on which we specialize. Currently is, for example, the Llama models. We're very good working with them and optimize them and fine-tuning them. I also have to say the models reach already a level, like, for example, the Llama 4 model, it was a bit disappointing, maybe the results, but actually it's a very versatile model and it's very easy to tune. And with some additional work in tuning, it reaches already the GPT level quality that we see on top of the table of the arena. I'm sure that Meta will probably have a follow-up releases on that. So the models already kind of reach such a good level that most of the models deliver almost the same quality results. Yeah.
Fantastic. And then maybe one more question, because this has come up recently at this event with some customers we've spoken to, and then other customers before the event that we've had conversations with and helping them adopt AI. And it's in the RAG and document understanding. So I'll put you a little bit on the spot, but feel free to share what you can. Is support of additional document types, whether it's the Microsoft family of documents or other types of documents. Is that anywhere in the roadmap to expand those?
Yes, it is. It's just that for us and for our customers at the moment was easier to convert these documents in PDF and then keep the something that it's a very complicated in the rack that people probably don't realize is how you extract the information from a document. If you just get a PDF document as example, you have the text that could be a different layouts formats, different tables. There could be images, there could be links, could be very complex tables inside. And it turns out that you can use different techniques, and you have to use different techniques to reach a very high quality of extraction of the information. For example, and every technique has pros and cons. For example, if we just use OCR, it is good in extracting layout, but it doesn't extract information that, for example, if there is a text that is bind to a link, the OCR does not see that. For just one example, very often there is information that is hidden that you have to read the PDF directly to be able to do so. And so we try to reach this super good quality level of extraction of information of PDF files before we jump to another format. And so for most of the customers, it turns out it's not a big problem to convert existing documents in PDF and we ingest them. But at some point, we definitely have on the roadmap to also be able to ingest Office documents, for example, directly. Also documents, for example, from SharePoint directly, or other sources, for customers do not need to copy those documents. Yeah.
Fantastic. Oh, that's great stuff. Thank you for those insights, Witmel. I think that exhausted the questions that I had for you. So unless you have any more comments, whoops, I think we might have lost Witmel. Thank you, Witmel, for all the insights. Thanks everyone for participating. Oh, there you are. We lost you a bit.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again, Witmel. We appreciate your time, your insights, and we will stay tuned for new stuff that you and your team are developing and announcing. So thanks again.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks everyone for attending. Enjoy the rest of the day.